Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Previously, we ascended Ashina Castle for the second time, bringing us to where we previously confronted Owl in the first playthrough, and this time we are going to be turning the tables and doing something completely different in order to get the Shura ending. And I'm going to warn you, this is a dark ending. This is just a reminder. If you for whatever reason are doing this differently than I am, then you might want to do some backup saves or something. So remember, re-download your, save your data, re-download it, whatever you need to, if you don't want to end the game right now, because this is going to be an actual ending. Um, One thing that I will forewarn to keep in mind, I brought this up in the previous playthrough, was that the endings can be played in a single playthrough, but you need skills on both sides and bosses on both sides, which is why we're doing this as New Game Plus, rather than having done them all in a straight shot with the first playthrough. So that is why we are doing things in that fashion. But let's just jump in and see where this goes. That didn't work, did it? Well, that's a great way to start. Oh, a death already, and I haven't even got to the boss fight. Is this a walkthrough or a watch me get dunked? Well, that's one way to start it. Ooh. No, not dealing with that.
O主のことはよく覚えているぞ。死んだと聞いていたが、一体何を企んでいる？フクロウよ。
企むなど滅相も。さあ、我と共に参りましょうぞ。この袋は巫女様の尊いその恩知をお守りしたいだけにございます。
お主も流因に見入られたか。話すことはない。去るがよい。
相すみませぬが、懐かしきこの眺めをもうしばし堪能したか。満足しましたら帰りまする。
Okay, so recall that the first time we did this, we talked to Owl. He basically commanded us to betray Kudo, and so he could essentially have the power of the dragon's heritage for himself. How that was supposed to work out, I don't know. But what we're going to do this time, rather than staying loyal to Kudo, the way that I would actually prefer to do things, is we're going to betray him. And what's going to happen is that instead of fighting Owl, we are going to be facing off against our friends, people we've come to know and trust. First, we'll be facing off against Emma, who, Sekiro had called her out on, how she knows how to wield a blade. And she's pretty much a straight-up sword fight. She's not bad. She can clear a good distance rather quickly, and she's good. So, don't let your guard down with her. I don't remember the fight too well because I've only done this twice. so I don't really have much to say at this point on it, but it is pretty much a straight up sword fight. If anything, I'd say maybe she reminds me a little bit of Oren of the Water, minus the whole Spectre thing. And the second fight, the true fight, is going to be against Isshin Ashina, which I'm going to say is much easier in this stage, in this his condition than he was in the in the Sword Saint variety that we fought at the end of the more full playthrough that we did previously. And so the he doesn't have any of like the crazy spear, gun, weather, and lightning stuff that he had in that stage. So it's pretty much a sword fight again with him as well. But he does use some kind of fire attacks that have a good amount of AoE on them. And other than that, like I said, I just don't really remember this fight too much because I've only done it a couple of times. But it's not too bad if you ask me. So let's just jump into this, and if there's points I can make while we're doing this, I'll make them. But I haven't practiced this much, so we'll see how this goes.
父上、生きておいでだったとは。
計りごとよ。お前こそあの世死んだと思うておったがな。
巫女様のお力にて死人より帰りました。
それよ。
は
わしはあの巫女の力を流飲を手中にしようと思う。
ですが
分かっておる。第一の掟により父が命じる。主を捨てよ。今よりあの巫女はお前の主ではない。
巫女様を捨てる。
そうじゃ、狼よ。父の言葉に従い、巫女を捨てよ。
So what you want to do then to do the Shura ending is to obey the Iron Code, forsake Kuro.
御意。
父の言葉に従い、巫女を捨てる。それで、良いのだな。
Interesting.
はい。掟は絶対、主よ。巫女を捨てまする。
それでこそ、わしのせがれよ。これで、我が波動も、これは物騒なお客人じゃ。だが道元殿のご息女と争うては、今は亡きあのお方に申し訳が立たん。ほう、なかなかどうして。狼よ、そなたに任す。見事打ち破ってみせよ。
御意。
私はかつて修羅を見ました。あなたの中に同じ者がいる。それを切らねばなりません。参る。
Oh! Yeah. She's gonna wreck me. Oh my god. Watch for those AoE cuts.
Sekiro よ。お主、愛想はまるでないが、不思議と憎めぬやつじゃった。さあ、修羅に落ちる前に切ってやろう。再び修羅を切ることになろうとはな。
Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
Dojo, Sekiro.
Oh, dang.
Mile. Shura.
赤炉よ。お主、愛想はまるでないが、不思議と憎めぬやつじゃった。さあ、修羅に落ちる前に切ってやろう。再び修羅を切ることになろうとはな。まだじゃ、赤炉。赤炉よ、切ってやれぬか。
Whew! Isshin Ashina. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe lingering in the mind of the wolf. Commune with a sculptor's idol and confront memories of battle to permanently increase attack power. Isshin Ashina was a true master of the sword, no less so in his veil of years. And so you will have earned 2 trophies for this. One for defeating Isshin Ashina in, the non-sword saint, his actual self kind of stage. And you'll get Man Without Equal if you have followed through everything I've done, which is for the 14th kind of true boss battle in the entire game. And this is another reason that we need to play on New Game Plus and not do backup saves, is because you cannot get the Man Without Equal boss trophy or this particular skill. One Mind. Combat art that unleashes a storm of attacks from a sheathed stance so fast that the blade is nigh invisible. Cost spirit emblems to use. One must focus their soul on the release of the blade, nothing else. In doing so, the strikes achieve a godlike speed, a technique conceived by none other than the old hand sword master Isshin, which I believe is that technique he uses when you could see the kind of blade whipping around in my face while he looked like he was just standing there. So yeah, there we go.
待たせたの。だがこちらの守備も上々じゃ。しかし老いたりとはいえ、あの一心に勝るとは。さすがはわしのせがれじゃの。これで全て我が手の中よ。アシナもナイフ殿もこの国ごと食ろうてくれるわ。我臼井右近左衛なぜお前がシュラ
違う、そなたはそなたはシュラではない。
兵士民草合わせて死者数千。生き残りはほとんどなし。アシナは戦国最も悲惨な殺戮の舞台となり、その地には後々まで鬼が潜んだという。
Gauntlet of Strength. Shura path has been unlocked. And I've never done this before. So we should now have all three paths in the gauntlet, which is nice. And we will eventually be doing that. Alright. That was the Shura ending. And I will say, while it's not my favorite outcome for the story, it does drop a couple of very interesting storyline points that are very interesting to me, and I completely overlooked them when I first did this. And so, of course, I always have to offer my thanks to Vati Vidya for his lore walkthroughs and, just, some of the stuff that people have done out there to kind of learn this stuff. First off, Owl, at the end there, before we took his life, said that his true name was, or he was trying to say his true name was Ukanzaiman Usui, and he revealed that in his final words. Essentially, there's no other way to figure that out without, as far as I know, throughout the story. And the name Usui should sound familiar. If you recall, Lady Butterfly was known to have trained in Usui's forest, which was said to have been located in the north, far north from Ashina. Usui's forest was described as being filled with mist and mystifications, which were thought, of course, to be the source of Phantom Lady Butterfly and her illusion techniques. And so my assumption there is that she probably trained under Owl, and that Usui's forest is probably, his kind of home ground, so to speak. That's where he's from. Now we know that Owl's objective, his ultimate objective, always seemed to be immortality. He's been kind of working against the Ashina at several points. We know what he did at Hirata, and it's thought in some cases, and I think Vati brought this up, I think there's a lot of belief that the whole setup at Hirata may have been to work this whole thing out to where Wolf or Sekiro was supposed to become supposed to be like his gate to the dragon's heritage. That maybe this whole thing was some kind of grand elaborate plan from the start. He says, Sekiro says to him, "I thought you died on that day," and he said, "The same could be said about you." And of course Owl knows that because Owl's the one who stabbed us in that hidden temple at Hirata after we took out Lady Butterfly. Now, of course, that was a memory, and we know that because when you go back to the memory later on, Masanari was alive, Juzo was alive, so we're not actually changing the events of the past, we're just changing our understanding of them. And so I kind of wonder if Sekiro was ever actually there to begin with, and if he was, and he took out Lady Butterfly, that's when he was stabbed by Owl, which would make sense. He returned early from his ventures that Owl had likely set him on, or if it was planned for him to come back at the perfect timing so he would see what was happening. Alternatively, if he was not there, which I feel seems less likely the more I play this, maybe Owl himself is the one who took out Lady Butterfly. Not really sure on that. So that's one kind of point that I thought was interesting, because we've heard of Usui's forest, and now we know that Owl himself is Usui. The other part of this that I thought was really interesting, that because the Usui part, he kind of throws in your face at the end, if you're listening. There's another thing that happened there in that final cutscene that was very subtle. When Owl came back, there were two things that were with him, two things in his possession. One, he had a new sword with him. It was not his sword that he was carrying. And that sword should have looked familiar. That was the Black Mortal Blade, Open Gate. That sword that we picked up at the end after stabbing him, that was the Black Mortal Blade. Who had the Black Mortal Blade before him? We know that Genichiro returns with it. Genichiro got it because he knew Tomoe, who originally had it, which is why Tomoe failed in her quest for purification, because they had the wrong blade. They couldn't get the dragon's tears. So when Owl excused himself from that fight and returned, he came back with the Black Mortal Blade, which means he probably killed Genichiro. Now, that alone is a probably, right? We don't know where Genichiro got the blade. But it makes sense. There's another thing that's really interesting, though. There's another thing he was carrying in his hand other than the Mortal Blade. There's an object that he put down next to Isshin's body. And if you look at the object, you can see it slightly in his hand. It's not in clear view, but it very clearly looked like, now that I saw this in hindsight, because I have not seen this in a while, it very clearly looked like black hair. So, if you go and watch Vati Vidya's lore discussions on this, he said that, and I don't know who originally did this, but somebody, apparently they found this interesting, because he puts the object down next to Isshin, you can hear kind of a plop sound, and he said that somebody went into the game code and kind of was able to kind of get a vantage on what was going on off the screen. And the object that was put down next to him, it was revealed that Owl had the severed head of Genichiro in his hand, kind of confirming that Owl assassinated Genichiro and took the blade. I thought that was really, really interesting, really cool that somebody went through the work to figure that out. And thanks to whoever that was, I don't actually know who it was, and thanks to Vati for sharing that. Of course, I've been referencing that in the description, so you can go and learn more about that if you want. But I thought that was really cool. So 2 bits of lore that I never would have picked up on if it weren't for that, and I really appreciate that. So that's a different type of ending. Now, looking at the ending itself, so what happened here essentially is is once you get to that point in the story, we have learned about Shura a good bit, and if you've been giving sake to your friends, you learn a lot more about it, especially from like the monkey boos and such, because of the burning sensation. Because we know Shura is a type of demon that it's kind of born of hatred and flames, and it's a common theme that has come up in this story. And if you go back to my previous playthrough where we stay loyal to Kuro, what happens? Well, you learn more about Shura from your friends, and Isshin and Emma comment a lot about how they would kill a demon if one were to present itself. We know that the sculptor lost his arm to Isshin when he was near falling to Shura. We know that the sculptor carves those Buddha statues that are not that are always kind of a semblance of hatred in a way. They're not normal Buddha statues. Because he's kind of our analog on the side of, or not our analog, he's kind of the other side of Shura. If we don't fall to it, he's going to. So one of us is going to fall to Shura no matter what in this story. If we stay loyal to Kuro and we stay on this righteous path, the sculptor will fall to Shura eventually. And that's what happens when the wars start to rage here, when the ministry makes their final move against the Ashina. That's when the demon of hatred comes out in the sculptor. And there's kind of an interesting, there's a dynamic between Sekiro and the sculptor that we've talked about several times, about how we share kind of a common relationship in a way to each other, which is why the sculptor has kind of been helping us in a way. And we also share this, that, one of us is going to fall to this, to this Shura, as they call it. We become Shura. And so if we kind of go back to the idea of talking to your friends about this, and we kind of stay on this righteous path, we learn more about it from them. And in the end, you can learn that the sculptor is the demon of hatred without, because most of us, I think, kind of figure that out on our own. It's not hard, because he disappears from here, and the old woman comments on him. I mean, he knows you by name and everything, and so it's not hard to put that two together there, I don't think. But Sekiro himself can learn that, and I don't know exactly how. I think you have to do all the sake. I tried to do that last time, and I couldn't quite get it to work, but we didn't do the Dragon Spring sake, so maybe there's a piece of information we were missing, which we will target when we get to New Game 2+. So we'll try to approach that and get that dialogue at some point. But then the flip side of it here is that, Isshin had said in the other alternative playthrough that he said he thought he saw Shura's shadows in our eyes, and he said, I guess I was wrong. But he wasn't wrong. He was actually correct about that. I think he said he thought he was wrong. We just stayed on this righteous path in the previous playthrough and didn't fall to it. Instead, the sculptor did. Whereas in this playthrough, by choosing to stay loyal to Owl, we fall to it instead. And so that's why there's that kind of theme of flames in that final battle. Although I'm not entirely sure why Isshin has that ability, but that's, the place kind of lights up on fire as that's going on. And, how many more swords do we need? Because Sekiro there had the red mortal blade, the black mortal blade, plus Kasabimaru, his own sword. He had like 3 swords on him at that point, not counting the Sabimaru. So 4 swords, I guess, if you count the prosthetic. But yeah, so that's kind of what happens in this ending. We become the demon ourselves instead. And as it said, because when the sculptor fell to Shura, and we were the one to take him out, so the battlefield was ravaged by him, but beyond that, we stopped him from moving forward. And in our story, there is nobody to stop us. Emma and Isshin both said if a demon were to appear, or Emma says if a demon were to appear, she would kill it. But we know Isshin has done this. We've done this in the alternative playthrough. But by taking everybody out in the end, there is nobody to take us out, which is why Sekiro went on as Shura for, what did it say, months? Something like that. And, there were a few survivors. Anyway, if you are following along for the trophy completion, we have 3 new trophies from this episode. There was Isshin Ashina for defeating our final 14 out of 14 bosses. Counts for, of course, you have to take out both Emma and Isshin. Emma the Gentle Blade and Isshin Ashina. And then we get the 14 out of 14 boss fights, which gets us man without equal for defeating all bosses. So we have those. Plus, by getting the ending, Shura, we get the trophy for that as well. And that puts us at 31 out of 34 trophies, leaving us with the skills trophy, so we still have to collect all skills, and the prosthetics trophy that we have to get as well, which will lead us to our platinum trophy. And that is a good place to end this episode. To recap, we decided to betray Kuro and stay loyal to our foster father, Owl, by following the Iron Code, by going on this path of killing, by taking out both Emma and Isshin. We essentially became Shura instead of the sculptor, and there was nobody left to take us out, so we had a much darker ending here than we have with any of the others. I dare say even the Immortal Severance ending, which was quite depressing if you ask me. Next time, we will, of course, be doing New Game 2+ to kind of follow through with the rest of the trophies. I'm hoping that we can get everything wrapped up in that playthrough. I'm not entirely sure because we are really low on some crafting supplies. But if it takes more than New Game 2+, then we just have to do more. But we've done all the major make or break trophies at this point, so those should be pretty easy to get. It's just going to be... we'll just play around with some other things, like we can play around with skills, prosthetic tools. We'll be doing the full playthrough, so we can get more crafting supplies, and so we'll have a lot more to do, more time to play it, and everything like that. I do like the speedrunning aspect of the areas. It's fun to see how fast I can get those down. And the game, I do believe, gets a little bit harder every time you play. I think at least up to New Game 6+ or 7+, something like that. I think it gets a little bit more challenging. If we want to, we could try playing with some of the additional challenges, like Kuro's charm and the Bell Demon Temple. We could bring the bell, try to make things a little bit more challenging for the fun of it, because we are a bit OP at this point. And I figure we could also play around with skins, stuff like that. Once we do get the platinum trophy, I would like to do all of the gauntlet of strength stuff as well. So there's still a lot more to do. It's just a matter of getting there, which will take some time. And with that being said, let us close things out for this one. I will not be continuing tonight. I was about to say be continuing tonight. I will not be continuing tonight because that is the end. So thank you all for joining, and I will see you all later.